Hey everyone, I'm Ebonie, aka Metal and Coffee, and this is Overkill Review's Bangers Weekly Metal Review Show. I hope you've been having a really good May. Wait, are you had a really good May? I personally have been racking in the shows. My most recent one was the Aggressive Progressive Tour, featuring Rivers of Nihil, Holy Fawn, Inter Arma, and Glacial Tomb. And it was fantastic. Glacial Tomb and Inter Arma definitely stole the show for me, and shout out to all the homies I hung out with at the show. So this week I'm reviewing the highly anticipated album by Katatonia. This is their 13th studio album, Nightmares as Extensions of the Waking State, released on Napalm Records, and it dropped June 7th. Yes, you heard me correctly. This is their 13th studio album. Katatonia has been around since 1991, starting as a duo, with the members being Jonas and Anders. But unfortunately, as of this new record, Anders has officially parted ways with Katatonia, leaving Jonas as the only founding member. But make no mistake, this updated lineup produces just as much artistry as you would expect from this band. So I often describe Katatonia as the gentlemen of melodic prog. They transitioned from their initial death doom start into this melancholic genre blurring force that we've grown to adore. They fuse melodic progressive rock with elements of goth, shoegaze, and ambient metal. In general, their music is extremely mature, introspective, and spacious. I got into Katatonia when they released their beloved album, The Great Cold Distance, back in 2006, and I've been on their heels ever since. So let's take a look at their latest album, Nightmares as Extensions of the Waking State. Jonas has been the sole writer for Katatonia for quite some time, which makes sense because Katatonia has a signature sound: dark, ethereal, borderline mysterious instrumentation paired with whispery, haunting vocals. And we get more of that on this record. Personally, it's Jonas's voice that keeps me coming back to Katatonia. So when I heard their single Lilac, what really stood out to me was the harmonious vocal interplay as the track rises and falls in intensity. The song structure also caught my attention. There's this guitar solo that happens before the first chorus, which I thought was a very interesting choice. And the outro is this beautiful collapse of energy and surrender. It's just to die for. Jonas has always been an excellent vocalist and lyricist, one of the few where I couldn't care less that he no longer does harsh vocals. The album title stems from the collective theme of each song being extremely dark, treading the line between reality and nightmares. One of my favorite lyrics on the album comes from the second single, Temporal, and I swear I've been singing it around the house endlessly while I just work on this review or just do various things like cleaning. Take my heart all the way, I can't wait to lose you. I love that lyric so much. This song reminded me of the Great Cold Distance era, one of my favorite albums, but if that record was written in this decade.
Take my heart out of the way. I can't wait to lose you. The 7 miles down, I hit the ground. Earthbound, temporal, unfound.
If there's one thing you can depend on Katatonia for, it's how infectiously moody their songs can be. The album opener, Thrice, I actually didn't like it at first because the start is just so jarring. It's like they spend the first 3 seconds shaking you violently to make sure you're paying attention before dropping the depressive mood on you. But after a few listens, I actually really appreciate the level up in technicality with this track.
Find you asleep, dusk on your eyelids. I break into your dream with hands made of glass.
When it comes to the best songs on the record, without a doubt, it's The Light Which I Bleed. Every musical element is locked in, from the creeping, curious guitar melody and the brooding bass line to the galloping drums and the pleading chorus that hinges on the standout line, The Light Which I Bleed.
Aspire for more than just direction. But surrendered well for all to see.
It even features a well-placed double bass section and closes with a cinematic orchestral outro. That's a song I always go back to.
Aspire for more than just direction. But surrendered well for all to see.
So aside from Thrice and a few great moments like the pre-chorus on The Liquid Eye, I feel like the first half of the album isn't super strong overall. The Liquid Eye's chorus feels a bit underwhelming, like in a rushed way, and on Wind of No Change, I really like what they were going for this track, especially with the bold use of the chorus and that sinister bass line opening, but the chorus just didn't land with enough emotional impact. It was so close though.
Map out the harrowing scheme inside to numb the soul. Calculate and magnify. Here comes the final strain, the rotten quota. For we are done waiting. Here comes our elder kin, appearing where we lay and sing praise. Hail Satan.
Also, let's talk about Departure Trails because why is that song so forgettable? Despite the strong synth presence, the song feels flat and unconvincing. It seems to be reaching for that signature somber serenade moment, but it just falls short, especially when compared to more affecting ballads like the only Swedish and I think the first Swedish Katatonia song, Efter Solen, which is just gorgeous and unforgettable, and pretty much the black sheep of this record. I love how the song starts with a deceptively hopeful tone and then shifts into an industrial trip-hop dark synth pop sound. Though the drum work is definitely varied on this album, sometimes it feels like it's doing a bit too much. Or maybe the instrumentation isn't supporting it enough. Take The Liquid Eye, for example. I actually really like this song. The pre-chorus build is such a beautiful climb, but there's a lot going on, and I don't feel like I can lock in long enough to fully appreciate what's happening. Also, there just isn't enough double kicking for me on this record. It makes a slight appearance on The Light Which I Bleed and In the Event Of, and I can't emphasize enough how much it elevates those songs. So comparing this record to their last record, Sky Void of Stars, is this new one better than their previous? I don't think so. Sky Void of Stars had a stronger start and was a tiny bit more colorful than this one, but that doesn't mean that this album is bad. Like I mentioned before, there's an elevation in technicality in this record, as well as some really interesting plays with the vocal harmony. At the end of the day, we got Katatonia doing what they do best, but with some melodies just not sticking. I would consider this record a slow burner because I found myself appreciating it more and more after each listen. For example, the opener, Thrice, and the closer, In the Event Of, I like a lot more now than I initially did, and sometimes it just happens like that. So with that said, I'm going to give this record a 3.5 out of 5 skulls. All right, time for shoutouts. The first record I want to highlight is from an Italian progressive metal band called Benthos and their new album, From Nothing. Someone actually requested this one on my Twitch stream and I fell in love instantly. It was giving Coheed and Cambria if they leaned into mathcore a bit more. Next shout out goes to a band that needs no introduction, Vil Biarta. They released a new record and I feel like they turned up their intensity to level infinity on this record. Very jarring and weird and quirky, but definitely worth a listen. That's it for this review. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Until then, I'll see you later, metalheads.
Take my heart.